Have you ever wondered what would happen if we used 100% of our brains? Probably not much, since that's apparently a myth. We can, however, do some pretty crazy things with our brains, so let's dive in. Number 1. Our brains are shrinking. Our brains are big. They weigh in around 1.4 kilograms and occupy a large space in our cranium, up to 80%. The rest is blood and cerebrospinal fluid. As revolting as it sounds, if you blended the brain and fluids, it would nearly fill 2 liters. It's proven that our brains are shrinking. So when you can't understand how humans could be so stupid, there could be a legit reason for it. University of Wisconsin paleoanthropologist John Hawks told Live Science that our brains have shrunk roughly 10%. This doesn't necessarily correlate to intellect. It's believed our brains are shrinking because our skulls are growing smaller. This is because our jaws are decreasing in size due to our less chewy diet. Number 2. Our brains are malleable. It's always believed that our brains stop growing at a certain point, but turns out that's another fallacy. Our brain is more pliable when we're younger, but even as adults, there's still room for malleability. Called adult plasticity, scientists have observed brain cells learning new information using better imaging techniques to make those cells fluorescent. This plasticity occurs through learning, memory formation, experience, and brain trauma. And Aluxers, be sure to use your brain and subscribe to our channel for more daily videos. Number 3. The difference between male and female brains. We often say the opposite sex is wired differently. So, is there a difference between male and female brains? Well, apparently yes. Men have larger brain volume and women have thicker cortices. Research done by Diane Halpern, PhD, who specializes in cognitive differences between males and females, found that women tend to do better with verbal and writing ability, and men generally perform better with problem solving. She's got a very interesting read about these differences in her book, Sex Differences in Cognitive Abilities. Number 4. IQ is up to you. People are born with different levels of IQ, but the interesting thing is, you can increase it. How cool is that? You could be born dumb and educate yourself to stop being dumb in the future. Who would have thought? Well, Sandra Bond Chapman did think. The founder and chief director of the Center for Brain Health at the University of Texas says, "We used to think that once smart, always smart, and vice versa. We now know that is wrong. Hey Luxers, there's still hope." Number 5. No need to ask for directions. Ever wondered how you just have a feeling of how to get somewhere and you actually get there? Turns out you're not a super sleuth, but rather making use of your brain's place cells. These cells are attached to memory and assist us in our spatial reasoning skills. In 2005, more cells were discovered, this time by May-Britt and Edvard Moser. They confirmed the existence of grid cells in our brains. Our brains automatically create a grid-like pattern, helping us to remember places. This discovery was awarded with a Nobel Prize in 2014. Number 6. You're brainwashed before you fall asleep. Aluxers, we've all heard about brainwashing, except the concept reminds us of people joining a cult, falling victim to a conspiracy theory, or even being sucked into an MLM scheme. We mentioned cerebrospinal fluid earlier. Well, this fluid protects our brains and clears out toxins, keeping our brains squeaky clean. Researchers at Boston University watched 13 healthy young people sleep. Weird, we know, but the discovery was worth it. They realized that our brain fluid creates waves around our brains every 30 seconds, basically washing our brains before we fall asleep. Number 7. It's a distant memory. Have you ever been recalling an event with people who were there too, and they remember it entirely differently? You wonder if you've lost your mind or if they were smoking something when it happened. Scientists still can't pinpoint how memory actually works, but Andre Fenton, a neurologist at New York University's Center for Neural Science, has an idea. He believes our memory is like writing on clay. It smudges, it fades, and it bleeds, thereby warping the reality of the events. He added that ongoing biochemical processes in our brain actually can change the way we remember memories. Number 8. You're officially all grown. Just when you thought you were as tall as you'd ever be, or you finally settled into a shoe size for life, we're here to tell you there are still parts of you growing, and no, we don't mean your waistline, we're talking about your brain. Our brains are only considered to be fully grown when we're around 25 years old. The last part is developing your prefrontal cortex, and that's the part where judgment, problem-solving, decision-making, complex planning, organized thinking, personality development, and impulse control stems from. Number 9. Turn up the volume. Hey Luxers, have you ever wondered why music makes you happy? Turns out there's a link between what we hear and the reward circuits in our brain. As explained by neuroscientists Anne Blood and Robert Zatorre at McGill University in Montreal, pleasurable music activated brain regions called the limbic and paralimbic areas, which are connected to euphoric reward responses, like those we experience from sex, good food, and addictive drugs. Right, so if you're needing to be addicted to something, we hope you choose music. Number 10. Brains need training just like the rest of our body. Have you ever thought of your brain the same way you think about your biceps? It's an organ, after all, that gets nourished and trained the same way your muscles do. Training your biceps is a pretty straightforward process, but how do you train your brain? What strength is for muscle, attention is for your brain. The process has a lot to do with awareness and mindfulness, which is why we highly recommend our Mind Mastery course that's been getting glowing reviews so far. Head to Alux.com/mindmastery and enroll now. Number 11. A new lease on life. Before cochlear implants were a thing, if there was hearing loss, there wasn't much you could do. Well, according to myhearingcenters.com, one cure for hearing loss was to climb to a high place and then jump down. So thank goodness cochlear implants were available in the 80s, and over time they became so advanced it was a life changer for many. The same applies to retinal implants, and now there are other implantable therapies that are bringing relief to people struggling with brain disorders like Parkinson's and epilepsy. There's hope these implantable therapies could assist with OCD, depression, addiction, and pain. Number 12. Games make you smarter. Hey Luxers, did you know that playing video games improves your cognitive skills? So, before you get annoyed with your partner for spending so much time gaming, it's possible it's just making them smarter in the long run. HealthyGamer.gg reports that video games increase your attention span, improve decision-making and problem-solving capabilities in competitive environments, and improve memory and learning. Video games improve the cognitive abilities that society values. This research was conducted by Green and Bavelier. Number 13. Time to visit high society. In our video, 15 Advanced Ways to Remember What You Study, we spoke about the Memory Palace. It's said to be the most powerful mnemonic device ever created. Mnemonic being a system made up of associations, letters, or ideas, anything that helps you remember something. Roman legend suggests the Memory Palace was invented by Simonides of Chios roughly 2,500 years ago. We know places well, like our home. We know the sounds, the textures, objects, and smells. Now, associate your study notes with those places. If you follow the same route through your house, you'll more easily retain the information you need for your studies and to increase your memory. Number 14. Wrinkles get a bad rap. It's time to wear your wrinkles with pride because apparently the more wrinkles and folds, the smarter you may be. Now, before you start skipping on the sunscreen, we're referring to the wrinkles in your brain. The more folds, the more processing power. Bigger brains, more neurons, extra smarts. Number 15. Changes in our brain can lead to mental health problems. The National Institutes of Health are researching the link between mental illness and our brain's structure. They believe that stress and environment can be huge causes of mental health issues. Aluxers, if you've gone through a stressful time or your environment has changed, it's never a bad idea to book a session with a therapist. Even if you're not feeling super stressed, that mild irritation or anxiety can quickly spiral out of control. A session with a therapist, even when things are good, is never a bad idea. It helps to keep us grounded and moving in the right direction. So, Aluxers, can you add anything of interest to our list about brains today? We'd love to hear from you. And of course, you stuck with us until the end. Here's your bonus. If you have managed to stay sane during the past year, you should be giving yourself a pat on the back, because neuroscientists report that our brains have changed, even if we didn't catch the virus. Pandemic isolation has probably changed your brain on a physiological level and a psychological level. No need to panic, you can restructure your brain to get through this tough time. Try to do the following: live in the present moment. Try out something different. Get out into nature. Talk to your worries. Reassure them you're okay. Exercise and read. We highly recommend Switch On Your Brain, the key to peak happiness, thinking, and health, which you can get right here for free at Alux.com/freebook, courtesy of our friends at Audible.com. Again, reach out to someone if you need to, and remember, you can always lean on us here at Alux. Thanks for watching. We value you and your support. Please subscribe for more videos and give this one a thumbs up.